Hi everybody, Nick Pansegrouw from Moreland University here. This is my teacher survey for Module 3, Level Lesson 1, Activity 1. We're talking about a technology and teaching survey. This is the original form that was sent out on Google Forms, and these are the responses. Due to them being pretty long, I'm going to give you a summary of them rather than reading directly what the answers are. Question 1, with a computer and projector being considered standard technology in the classroom, how much additional technology do you employ in your physical classroom? Teachers between the three mentioned using additional technology in his class regularly. However, students use tablets with an array of apps and websites. The only technology that responded to mentioned was that is of apps, videos, and sometimes online games accessed on a computer and then projected for the class to see. And teacher 3 mentioned that the focus is more on software rather than hardware. Question 2, listing any apps, digital games, or other non-traditional forms of technology you use regularly in your physical classroom. Teacher 1 and 3 both listed Kahoot, WordWall, and Blooket, whereas teacher 2 mentioned ClassDojo, YouTube, and Google. The important thing to draw from this, information-wise, is the fact that all teachers are integrating technology in their daily lessons. Question 3, with the COVID-induced move to online teaching, hybrid teaching, do you feel you've been successful in using a physical classroom technology routines when online? Between the three teachers, it's unanimous. Yes, it has been. However, it is important to keep classes fresh, as well as keeping a focus on technology when designing lessons so that it can be accessed and digested easily by both teachers and students. Question 4, per lesson planning, do you plan your lessons around available technology, or do you use technology to embolden more traditional style lesson plans? Teacher 1 tries to use a combination. Teacher 2, it's focused more on the traditional lesson plans supplemented by technology, whereas teacher 3 plans around technology first. So if you had to take that as a sum, it would be 1 plus 1 plus 1, means that they all use technology, however, in less to greater degrees. Next question, how do you feel technology aids a child's learning process? Teacher 1 mentioned about being able to provide immediate feedback and adjust to students' needs using AI learning. Teacher 2 means that Teacher 2's response was that it can facilitate interest and attention on subject matter and makes the learning process more fun and enjoyable. And Teacher 3, the biggest benefit is regular repetition through gameplay. So nonetheless, unanimous thumbs up for technology in and outside the classroom. How about disadvantages to using technology in the classroom? Teacher 1, I like what he says. Technology can be seen as a panacea to educational ills and challenges. This is true. When things are not going right, throw some money, buy some technology, and whoosh, everything is magically correct, when in fact it's not. Teacher 2 mentioned about students getting distracted and getting off task, and there's also the capacity for students to engage in explicit content, which can get both the students as well as the teacher in trouble. And then Teacher 3 mentioned that because technology and games are so omnipresent, the standard traditional lesson can end up being really boring. Next one, do you believe that it's essential for modern day learners to have access to digital technology? Teacher 1, it depends on the environment. First world countries, technological literacy is integral to being a functioning member of society, whereas in more agrarian societies, if they still exist, maybe not so much. Question 2, teacher number 2 mentioned that it's interesting, he's talking about being an anachronism, whereas the students today are so adept to technology, whereas he feels a little bit anachronistic. So we all have to sort of update our own systems to keep pace. And number 3 says absolutely, the vast majority of future occupations will be technologically related, and it's up to us to make sure that our students are in tune with this. Last but not least, list some core skills you believe learners will cultivate better should they be educated in a technologically integrated environment. We've got teamwork, communication, and media. Also, there's the concept of being a responsible digital citizen, which will allow students to take charge of their own digital lives and be able to inform themselves correctly. And number 3, technological savviness, creative problem solving, and innovative production of their own technological assets. So in sum, it goes without saying that all teachers listed in the survey do believe that technology is integral, vital, and beneficial to the educational process. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. We're getting directly into the student survey analysis. You can see in the right-hand corner of your computer screen, it says Teacher Pan. That is my name, my teacher name, Mr. Nicholas Pansegrouw, and here I am from Moreland University presenting my student survey. All right, because I do not have a paid-for subscription to SurveyMonkey, I did get 11 responses to my survey. However, only 10 are visible. That should I subscribe, then obviously more responses will become available. Question number one, this was focused on developmental capabilities and limitations, behavioral and cognitive. My question was, what was your favorite thing at school this year? I teach grade 6 students, so they're at a very tender age, both chemistrally, I guess existentially, educationally, etc. And also because I live in Taiwan, the language of choice is Chinese. So I'm interested to see here that both English and Chinese are neck and neck. That's fantastic, particularly in an environment where we're looking to develop bilingual skills. Other classes that also took up quite a few votes included math, science, art, PE, computers, and health. All of this indicating that for the most part, kids enjoyed school. So very happy to hear that the children are developing cognitively as well as behaviorally in a correct way. Question two is focused on literacy. How many books do you read each month? This is fantastic. In Taiwan, as in other Far East Asian countries, there's a lot of stress on kids to be able to perform at high levels. Despite this, you've got kids, the majority of kids still reading more than 10 books a month. All in all, it looks very healthy literacy-wise. But again, that's what you get in a first world place where an emphasis is put on education. Question number three, what technology do you use at home to do your schoolwork? Amongst the 10 responders, every single one of them has a device that allows them to access materials online, most being computers. We also have some with iPads and tablet computers, as in the case of one student, their own phone. Again, this ties in with literacy, showing that students have the capacity to learn both inside and outside the classroom. Let's have a look on question number 4. What are you good at? I focused on student interest, skills, and talents with this question. I threw a couple of school subjects in, like language learning, science, math, art, reading. And let's have a look. By and by, it was math that came out on top. Again, that's no surprise in an export economy like Taiwan's. I am, however, pleased to see that art, reading, sport, and other. The student didn't list what that other was in this case. Kind of take up their own special spaces in their minds. Again, I'm just really happy to see that holistic education is finding its way and retaining a healthy position in Taiwanese educational society. What do you do after school? This focuses on extracurriculars. In Taiwan, they've got things like cram schools where students go after school to kind of embolden their own knowledge sets per particular subjects. Only 20% of my students currently do that, whereas most of them study at home. Some have the pleasure and or whatever you want to call it of watching TV and other options. It could be anything. It could be dance, could be swimming. Again, the pleasing point being that things do appear quite holistic and balanced. Question 6, this was my way to try and get into the students' psyche per whether or not they had any special needs. What was your least favorite thing at school this year? Grade 6, again, being a temperamental age. I didn't like some teachers, didn't like some students. I thought some classes were boring. We had too much homework. Yes, these all exist. Of course, it's going to exist anywhere. But what, again, pleased me more so than anything, I liked everything. Isn't that amazing for grade 6 students about to go into junior high school in a high-pressure educational society where students are saying, hey, everything's good. I like learning. I think that's 90% of the battle won there with regards to having them keep the educational flame alive. What do you hope to do in the future? This is cool. I like this. Get a good job and make lots of money, 20%. Travel to many countries, 20%. Again, the majority of votes went with staying happy and healthy together with learning new things. So obviously, I'm not saying that the responses here are of my own doing, but part and parcel of what I feel I've contributed to the psyches of these kids is to let them know that the way to happiness, the way to fulfillment is through education, to keep learning, to staying happy, and to living holistic, balanced lives. Thank you. This is my student survey, and this is me out of here for now. Leading on from our surveys, we now have to consider how we're going to integrate technology via different learning bands. For example, let's go into pre to K2. Obviously, these students are focused a lot on movement and color. These form an integral part of their day-to-day lives. So, for example, what you could be using is apps, YouTube for active videos, and in the case of young learners and/or ESL learners, phonics. Wordwall is a good one for differentiated games, as well as Blookit, which offers challenging games. Also, for the young learners who would like to read, Starfall Learn to Read is an excellent resource, which gets the kids into colorful, fun reading learning from the very beginning. Moving on to grades 3 through 5, obviously they're similar to pre-K from pre to K2 in the sense that they are focused on movement and color. However, they're obviously more developed. In this case, you can also continue using YouTube for all the virtues that YouTube holds. Together with Toontastic, it's an excellent app that allows kids to form a narrative, beginning, middle, and end, where they can manipulate characters and create and present stories. Also, another thing to consider adding in at this point would be something like Scratch for coding, where kids obviously having a little bit more cognizance and ability with computers and coding might be able to take them down a differentiated yet fruitful path. From grade 6s to 8, this is where students are really taking cognizance of their lives, identities, and roles in society. So what we could have a look over here, how about Evernote? This is note-taking and organization, where students are finally able to conduct their own day-to-day lives and need sort of help doing so. Another thing that we could also use is something like Simple Mind, an app that assists with regard to mind mapping. Again, this is a stage in children's lives where ideas just come thick and fast, and being able to put this into visual, easy to access wholes are always very, very beneficial. Also, from grade 9 to 12, students are now fully aware of what they are. And so I'm going to consider putting in something like video production. Wondershare Filmora is an excellent go-to on this front, where students can manipulate imagery, audio, special effects to produce works of art that reflect upon themselves and their social context. And of course, as the students move into university, they can also consider something like Prezi, presentation suite, where students are again manipulating all manner of elements into presentation style narratives that they then use amongst their classmates and beyond. As a separate thing, we can also consider ESL. ESL apps at work, Wordwall, Blookit, Quizlet, and of course, YouTube videos regarding phonics. All of the apps that I've just mentioned now are extremely useful. I've used them for many years, and considering differentiated learning for ESL learners, they all do their trick in their own way. Moving on to our final band, that would be special needs. We can look at Sago, mini first words for students that are learning their first words. I Can, which is a games repository that has special games for differentiated special needs learners. And finally, ClickerDocs. This assists students with writing and any that might have dyslexic issues. All in all, many apps throughout all bands to access. And we are very fortunate to have this kind of technology to implement as need be. This is Nicholas Pansegrouw signing out.